I swing the front door open, a silly grin plastered on my face, the buzz of forbidden romance tingling in my veins. Honey, I'm home. I call out, the irony of my cheerfulness biting at me. The silence that greets me is puzzling. Usually, by now, Jack's booming voice would echo back or the kids would have stampeded to the hallway. I drop my keys on the hall table, my heart beginning to race as I step further into our too-quiet house. Jack? Lucas? Elsie? My voice climbs with each name, a creeping panic setting in. I toss my purse aside and rush through the living room, the kitchen, then up the stairs, my heels thudding loudly against the wood. Each empty room twists a knot tighter in my stomach. Back downstairs, I notice the note on the fridge, the magnet barely holding its weight. My hands shake as I take it, the paper feeling like lead. Jack's neat handwriting stares back at me. Gone for a while? Take your time figuring things out. Don't worry about us. We're safe. Safe? The word sends a chill through me. I sink to the floor, the cold tile of the kitchen numbing my skin. What has he done? Where has he taken the kids? My mind races through scenarios, none of them ending well. Had he found out? Was this his way of getting back at me? The house feels cavernous, a shell of the home it was this morning. I pull out my phone, hands trembling, and dial Jack. Voicemail. I try again, desperation coloring my tone. Jack, please. Where are you? Where are the kids? We need to talk about this. With no reply forthcoming, I'm left spiraling. I think about calling the police but hesitate. What would I say? That my husband and children are missing because I was out on a date. Hours pass like days. I sit at the kitchen table, surrounded by the ghostly echoes of our family's laughter, wondering how long he's been planning this. My affair, a misguided attempt to find validation outside our strained marriage, now feels trivial and selfish. But was it enough to push him to take the kids and disappear? As the night creeps in, so does the realization. This is just the beginning. Whatever Jack's planning, it's clear he's steps ahead of me. I need to prepare, to strategize. Because if this is his move in our twisted game of chess, I need to be ready to make mine. With resolve stealing my spine, I stand up. I have to find them. I have to bring them back. And I have to find out just how deep Jack's revenge is going to cut. I can't sit still. With each passing second, desperation claws deeper into my soul. I grab my coat and keys, deciding to visit the only person who might know where Jack could have gone, his brother Mike. Driving through the night, the empty streets mirror the hollowness inside me. When I reach Mike's house, the lights are off. But I don't care. I pound on his door until he answers, his face groggy and irritated. Sarah? What the hell? It's 3 a.m. Mike's voice is thick with sleep. Mike, I need your help. It's Jack. He's taken the kids and left. My words tumble out, desperate and pleading. Mike's irritation shifts to confusion and then to concern. What? Slow down. Come in. We sit in his dimly lit living room, the glow from the streetlight casting long shadows. Jack found out, didn't he? Mike asks, not needing to specify what he means. I nod, tears threatening to spill. I think so. He left a note. Said they were safe, but he's gone, Mike. And I don't know where. Mike runs a hand through his hair, sighing heavily. Okay, let me think. He mentioned once about a cabin our parents used to take us to when we were kids. It's pretty isolated. He might have gone there. Hope flickers in my chest. Can you take me there? Yeah. Let's go now. I'll drive. The ride to the cabin is tense, filled with the hum of the engine and our silent thoughts. As dawn breaks, the cabin comes into view, a secluded structure surrounded by dense woods. We approach cautiously. Jack. It's Mike. I brought Sarah. Mike calls as we get out of the car. There's movement inside, and the door swings open. It's not Jack. It's Andrea, his work colleague. Confusion washes over me. Andrea? What are you doing here? My voice is sharp, edged with a mix of surprise and suspicion. She steps aside, letting us in. Inside, I see no sign of Jack or the kids. Jack asked me to wait here. He said he needed someone trustworthy to keep an eye on the place. He left early this morning, she explains, her voice calm. Where did he go? Where are my children? My voice cracks, each word laced with fear. Andrea looks at me, her eyes sympathetic. He didn't say Sarah, but he's planning to come back. He said he needed to make sure you follow his rules first. What rules? What is he talking about? Frustration builds within me. Before Andrea can answer, Mike interjects. Whatever game Jack is playing, we need to find him. And fast. Andrea nods, pulling out her phone. I can try to trace his last location from his work phone. It's a long shot, but it might give us something. As she taps away at her device, I feel a blend of gratitude and distrust towards her. Why is she so involved? What's her role in all this? Minutes later, Andrea looks up, hopeful. Got something. He might be headed towards the state park. Let's go, Mike says, determination in his voice. As we head back to the car, I'm filled with a mix of dread and determination. I will find my children, no matter what Jack has planned. But as we drive towards the state park, I can't shake the feeling that this is just another piece in a puzzle far bigger than I imagined. The car races towards the state park, the early morning light casting long shadows across the road. Tension coils within me as each mile brings us closer to, hopefully, my children. Mike breaks the silence, his voice tight with urgency. What are we going to do when we find him, confront him? I grit my teeth, focusing on the weaving road. I just want the kids back, Mike. We'll deal with Jack later. Andrea, tapping away on her phone in the backseat, suddenly straightens. Turn here, Mike. The GPS shows he stopped here recently. Mike swerves into a gravel path, the tires crunching under us. The path leads us deeper into the woods, the trees thickening around us until we pull up to a small clearing. The car's engine dies, and we're enveloped in an eerie silence. There's a cabin up ahead. Andrea points, her voice a whisper as if afraid to break the quiet. We leave the car and move towards the cabin. My heart pounds furiously, each step feeling heavier than the last. As we approach, the door to the cabin swings open, and there stands Jack, looking as calm as if he were expecting us. Sarah, you brought company, he says, his voice cold, eyes flicking between Mike and Andrea. Where are the kids, Jack? I demand, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. They're safe, just not here, he replies smoothly, stepping outside to meet us. Why are you doing this? Mike steps forward, anger lacing his tone. Jack's eyes narrow slightly. This is between me and Sarah. She knows why. I take a deep breath, trying to keep my composure. Jack, whatever this is, let's talk it out. There's no need to involve the kids. Jack shakes his head, a humorless smile playing on his lips. Oh, it's too late for that, Sarah. You made your choices, now live with them. Andrea interrupts, stepping forward. Jack, think about what this is doing to your children. You're scaring them. He turns to her, his expression softening just a fraction. Andrea, you don't understand. Suddenly there's a rustle in the bushes, and a small figure bolts from the trees. Lucas, our 8-year-old, runs straight into my arms, crying. Behind him, Elsie emerges, tear-stained and confused. Mommy. Elsie cries, and I scoop her up, holding both tightly. Jack's face contorts with anger and something else. Pain. He watches us, his plan crumbling. Daddy said we were playing the game, Lucas sobs, clinging to me. It's okay, baby, you're safe now. I soothe, my heart breaking for the fear they must have felt. Jack steps forward, his demeanor shifting. I just wanted you to feel what I felt, he whispers, defeated. Mike steps between us. It's over, Jack. Let's end this madness. Jack nods slowly, his shoulders slumping as he looks at his children. I'm sorry, he murmurs, almost inaudibly. The morning suddenly feels colder, the shadows darker. As I hold my children, the relief is overwhelming, but the road to healing seems daunting. Jack's actions have left deep scars, and I know this is just the beginning of a long journey towards understanding and forgiveness. For now, I focus on the small, warm hands gripping mine, the only certainty in a suddenly uncertain world. The drive back home is silent, filled with a heavy tension that not even the children's quiet sobs can pierce. I keep glancing at Jack in the rearview mirror, his eyes hollow, his face a mask of regret. Beside him, Mike looks equally troubled, the weight of his brother's betrayal pressing down on him. Once home, I usher the kids inside, their relief palpable as they rush to their rooms. The familiarity a small comfort after the terror of uncertainty. I turn to face Jack, needing answers. Why, Jack? Why put our kids through this horror? Jack avoids my eyes, his voice a low murmur. I needed to know, Sarah. I needed to know he would come after us, if he cared enough to find us. Anger flares within me. You used our children as pawns to test me. It wasn't just that, Jack starts, then hesitates, looking towards Andrea, who's followed us inside. She steps forward, an envelope in her hands. There's more to this, Sarah. Andrea's voice is gentle. Jack wasn't just testing your loyalty, he was being blackmailed. Blackmailed? I echo, confusion swirling inside me. Andrea hands me the envelope. We found out someone knew about your affair and was threatening to expose everything unless Jack pushed you to a breaking point. I tear open the envelope, my hands shaking. Inside are photos of me with my lover and a series of emails detailing the blackmail demands. My heart sinks as the reality of the situation washes over me. Who would do this? I whisper, looking up at Jack, who now appears as much a victim as I am. Jack takes a deep breath. It was Martin. Your lover. The room spins as I absorb his words. Martin? Why? He thought you would leave Jack if pushed far enough. He wanted you for himself, but in a way that wouldn't raise suspicions about your affair. The betrayal stings, a bitter and cold realization. So you decided to test my loyalty by taking our kids? Jack nods miserably. I panic. I thought if I could make you choose visibly, maybe it would scare Martin off, show him you'd never leave the family. I sit down, the world tilting. And Andrea? How does she fit into all this? She helped me uncover Martin's plans, Jack explains. She's been a friend, Sarah. She was trying to help, even if it went too far. I look at Andrea, my eyes wet with tears of frustration and gratitude. Thank you, I managed to say, though it hardly seems enough. Mike, who's been quietly observing, finally speaks. What now? What about Martin? Jack's jaw sets firmly. I've taken care of it. I sent the evidence to the police. He won't be a problem anymore. The room is quiet, the air thick with a mix of relief and sorrow. I have my children, feeling the fragile pieces of our family fitting back together in a new, awkward pattern. As we sit down to dinner, a quiet understanding passing between us. There's a knock at the door. I open it to find a police officer. Sarah. We come to talk about Martin. He's in custody. Relief washes over me, the final thread of the ordeal pulling tight. Thank you, officer, I say as I close the door. Turning back to my family, I realize that while the wounds are deep, the healing can finally begin. We were manipulated, tested, and broken, but not beyond repair. Our family isn't perfect, but it's ours, and we'll rebuild it together, stronger and more aware of the preciousness of trust and the depth of our bonds.